and welcome into the Knicks-Verse. My name is George, and if this is your first time here or you've been here before but have not subscribed yet, please do so. Please do so. Along with hitting that thumbs up button for me. Very much appreciate that. And drop your comments. Definitely love the comments. Well, we got some Friday night Knicks, and it didn't end well. Did not end well at all. The whole entire second half was pretty much a bloodbath. And it got off to such an incredible start. It was like, what am I even watching? This game was unbelievable. The way the teams were scoring, hardly any defense was being played in that first half. But the Hawks managed to tighten themselves up a little bit defensively, and it made all the difference where the Knicks didn't step up. Now, it was the first game for the Knicks without starting Mitch Robinson. Jericho Sims started in his place, and he did a good job. You know, he played almost 29 minutes, hit all 6 of his buckets, 12 points, 8 rebounds, 3 offensive rebounds. He did a very, very good job. The problem was the defense of the rest of the team. And let me get into it right now. Let's go. Here it is, 139-124. This is, the Knicks scored 71 points in the first half, and they shot 71% in the first half. But we went incredibly cold after that. If you hear a little moaning, it's a dog over here. It's just like, it's a pug. It's like, yeah, look at this. We scored 38 points in the first half, took the lead. It was 38-35. Then the first quarter, not the first half. The second quarter, both teams scored 33 points. Knicks finished 71, and the Hawks had scored 68. So we were up. We had a nice 3-point lead. That was it. That lead evaporated like that within a few minutes of the third quarter. In fact, let me just go and show you the stats right here. This is the first 4 minutes or so of the third quarter. Knicks did not score one field goal, did not hit, no free throws, nothing. They got 1 offensive rebound, committed 2 turnovers and 2 personal fouls, and were a minus 13 because the Hawks outscored them. They went on a 13-0 run and pretty much just took the game over. And it seemed like the Knicks were stunned suddenly. Like they had no real response for this whatsoever. And I'm including Thibodeau in this. I don't think he had any clue. He had no fallback plan to if this were to happen. He pulled Grimes after the first, within a minute when he picked up his 4th foul. Immediately pulled him. Now Grimes is our best defender. So in a game that 2 teams are just scoring at will, what do you need the most? Your best defenders. Well, it's hard to argue with it. He picked up his 4th foul, you pulled him out, but I think at this point you have to make a defensive stand, and Grimes only ended up playing 16 minutes in the whole game anyway. So this was, it's hard to fault Thibs too much on that decision, but when you look back on it, you wonder, was that the right decision at the moment? Now, Emmanuel Quickley is an excellent defender himself, but he doesn't have the versatility that Grimes gives you, obviously, or the size that Grimes gives you, obviously. So that hurt us, especially against Murray, who has that extra length. Trae Young, look at Trae Young. He just went crazy in those first 4 minutes or so. He scored 9 points right away, and Collins hit a bucket. DeJounte Murray hit a bucket, and that was pretty much it. They shot 5 of 7, and the game really never got close after this moment here. It was it. It was done. And you're just watching the rest of the game, but you realize the Knicks, they don't have a run. They don't have a run in them. And that is the big issue here. The reason the Knicks didn't have a run in them, a sustainable run, a meaningful run in that second half, is because these guys, and I know you call me the minutes police, but the guys are gassed. They came out with a lot of energy in that first half, and I think they wanted to make up for the lackadaisical effort that they gave in the previous game against the Wizards. And they came out with a lot of energy, but they spent it all. There's only so much. See, there's a reason why when you plug in your battery in your phone, you got to wait a certain amount of time for it to reach 100% charge. That's just the way it is. You can keep pulling it out, 30%, 40%. You can keep pulling out. You're going to burn that battery out. It's not going to ever get a nice full clean charge. The human body is very similar. Very similar. And I get it. Every team faces the same issues. But Tom Thibodeau burns his starters out. That is just a fact. A statistical fact that is quantifiable. He actually was very deceiving in his previous post game where he said, I don't think we even have any players in the top 20 in minutes. In the last 20 games, he has two players. He has the number 1 most minutes player and the number 3 most minutes player. So it was a very deceiving statement on his part. And that annoyed me tremendously. But here we go. So speaking of Randall, I mean, he did everything he could to keep the Knicks around. He scored 32 points, 9 boards, 6 dimes. Yeah, he committed some turnovers here and there, but it's going to happen. Ended up playing 33 minutes, shot 50% from the field. Sims, like I told you before, hit all 6 of his buckets. Brunson, he really didn't have the impact on this game that he normally does, even though his stat line looks good. 7 of 14, 1 of 2 from the 3-point line, 9 assists, no rebounds tonight for him. Ended up with 19 points. Barrett got off to a sizzling hot start in the game. I don't think he missed a bucket in the first half. In fact, let me confirm that. Yeah, he was outstanding. Yeah, he had all 6 of his buckets in the first half. So that means in the second half, he went 3. Wow. 3 for 8. No, 3 for 10. 3 for 10 in the second half. Yeah. To finish with 23 points, he was second highest scorer, but only 3 rebounds for RJ. 2 assists. There weren't that many, in the first half, there weren't that many rebounds, especially offensive rebounds to be had because the Knicks shot, like I told you, 71%. They hardly missed any. There was one stretch where the Knicks had only missed 6 of 32 shot attempts. How crazy is that? That also shows you how incredibly cold they went in the second half. But, when you look at it in this totality, it was really when you look at the third quarter. Because in the second half, they did end up shooting 46.3%, 35% from the 3-point line. They still were missing free throws, which is, always annoying. But, like, for the third quarter, it's just that the Hawks just kept on shooting. Where both teams were shooting the lights out in the first half. The Knicks much more so. The Hawks were picking up so many additional shots, the second chance points, and that was a big, big difference in this game. But the Knicks were hanging right there because they were making their buckets. But in the second half, that all went away, and I was worried about that, especially at halftime. I didn't really want to get that excited about the situation that we were in because if the Hawks at all continued playing the way they were playing, which was sustainable, and the way we were playing was just not sustainable for an entire game, or else it would be one of the most incredible offensive displays of the Knicks of all time, especially at least for this season if we had kept shooting at 70%. So it just wasn't going to happen. Did we miss Mitch? We did miss Mitch. Of course we missed Mitch. And a lot of times it's hard to see how obvious it is that we miss Mitch. It's more about the result. Because when you're watching a game, it's not like he's like scoring left and right, or he's getting like, he'll go through a phase where he'll get like 3 blocks in a quarter, but then he won't get any more blocks the rest of the game. That's what he's like. But what he does to the offensive player mentally is put question marks in their heads and makes them move away from what works for them normally and gets them out of their comfort zone. That is the magic of Mitch. So we were missing that tonight. Definitely were missing that tonight. Especially when you look at Isaiah Hartenstein. He picked up, in 17 minutes, he picked up 6 rebounds, only 1 field goal attempt. He did make it, but that was it. Obi Toppin, for a minute there, it looked like he was going to have a nice game. He started out well in the first half, and then he just drifted away in the second half. But again, when you don't get, he did end up with 16 minutes, which is probably a high for him for the past 10 games or so. That's for sure. But 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 7 points. Need more from Obi Toppin. Absolutely. Deuce actually had a nice little game. He had a nice little game, but Emmanuel quickly hit all 5 of his buckets. The question that becomes is, why does he only get 5 buckets? Why does a guy who plays 36 minutes only get 5 shot attempts? But you know what? On a night when the Knicks shot almost 60% from the field and shot 43.3% from the three-point line, it's hard to complain about who's getting the shots. It was about defense. This team got beat in hustle points. Let me just skip to it. I'll just show you. Right here, we'll go back to here. Here it is. Points in the paint was fairly even. It was a -2 for us. Fast break points, fairly even, but again, another -2. So that's -4 right there. Second chance points was the story. We were a -10. They scored 23 second chance points on us. We only scored 13. And this is a night where it wasn't like we were totally crushed on the boards either. Yes, we were a -5 in offensive rebounds. We ended up with 10. We ended up with 9 offensive rebounds. They ended up with 14, which is high. That's way too high. And you can see the rebounding battle. We lost that tonight, a -5, and that was the offensive boards. Assists, 27 assists. That's the most assists we've had in 12 games. 12 games, and yet we lost. Ironically, we also lost that other game where we had 27 assists. That was against Dallas. Steals, pretty much even. The turnovers, 12 is not bad. 12 is not bad for an entire game. But when the opponent is only committing 7, then it does hurt. But we were able to get 15 points off of the turnovers, and they were only able to get 12. So that in that respect, the turnovers didn't necessarily hurt us as much. But it was the second chance points that really killed us. Let's see here. What else? Oh, also the free throw line. We did shoot 76.5%, hit 13 of 17, but they hit 14 of 16. So again, we hit a few more free throws there. We get out there on the. We allowed DeJounte Murray to just feast in the mid range. We were dropping our drop coverage was we dropped too far off him. We sagged too much off of him. It's almost like we didn't take his mid-range game seriously, and that is where he feasts normally. Here's the other crazy thing. This is a crazy game. On a night when the Knicks when the opponent shot 56% from the field. They only shot 38.2%, which 38.2% is really good from a three-point line for a team. That's very good. But when your two main guys combine for 2 of 11 from the three-point line, Trae Young was 1 of 7. DeJounte Murray was 1 of 4. And you still managed to lose this game. Got to really scratch your head. You got to make you wonder, wait, I thought we had a defensive genius as a coach. Where was he? Where was he tonight? Where was that genius tonight? I feel like he wasn't even ready for this type of a game. That's what it seemed like to me. He had no backup plan whatsoever. When you go to the plus minus, when you look at it, when you lose by 15 points, you wonder, can anyone even have a plus? Well, one player did, Emmanuel Quickly. He was a +2. So it could have been one of those games where we just could have gone to him more, featured him more. Maybe we get this game a little closer. Maybe it gets a little tighter, and Atlanta starts missing some of those shots that they felt so comfortable taking. And this game becomes totally different in that second half. But it just didn't turn that way. And it's frustrating. And I'm worried about the future for these Knicks. I'm worried about the future. Winnie. Humphrey, I called her my old dog's name. I wanted to show you guys this. Now this is last season's stretch around this period. On January 20th last season, we played our 46th game, and it was against the New Orleans Pelicans. We lost. Then, the very next game, 3 days later, we beat the Clippers at the Garden. Then we went on that road trip. The road trip that just wouldn't stop punishing us even when we came back home. We ended up only winning. We ended up going 1 of 12. And then right before there was a stretch there where we went 1-12. We only won 1 of 13 games at one point here. During this stretch between January 23rd and the right before the All-Star game, we went 3-10, and then afterwards we lost the next 4 games. So we went 3-14 during this stretch, and it's just past the halfway point of the season. The reason I'm pointing this out is because it speaks to the whole dilemma that we face as Knicks fans with this coach, Tom Thibodeau. His style of play is just not conducive for sustainable winning over a long stretch of time, and especially in the playoffs. He burns our best players out. There's no other way I can say it. That was one of the reasons here. Also, the other reason here is because he was starting Burks during this stretch of time, which was always a head scratcher, and playing Randall crazy amounts of minutes. RJ, I'm not sure. Yeah, RJ as well. Something's got to change. Something has to change because now we're down Mitch. We got the trade deadline coming. We're in the dog days of the NBA schedule, similar to the dog days of baseball during the late July, August. This intense day. That intense after you've already played your hearts out for like 40 plus games. Now you're facing an additional 20 games where they're brutal. And we are facing some tough opponents. We got the Wizards coming up, who we just had a really tough game against. We got, I think we have the Celtics coming up. And we've got, who else is in between? I think Toronto. Yeah, we have the not the Wizards. We have the Raptors. The Raptors, the Cavaliers, the Celtics, the Nets. That's what we have. Those are our next 4 games. This could be ugly. We could lose all 4 of those games, though I think we'll beat the Nets. We have the Lakers. Hopefully we can recover by then for that. It's just gonna. I'm very concerned because then we have the Heat, then we have the Clippers, we have the Sixers, then we finally get a little bit of a break with the Magic, and then we have the Sixers again, and then the Jazz come into town, and then we have the Nets again, and then we have the Hawks on February 15th, right up to the All-Star break. So there's a possibility. It's a possibility the Knicks could be 3 games under 500 by the All-Star game. There's a distinct possibility, and there's just nowhere to turn because you've already once you burn your players out, it takes a long time for them to recharge their batteries. It's not like you give them a day off and they suddenly boom, they bounce right back. It doesn't work that way. And I get it. Everyone's like, oh, but in the old days we all used to play this way, but we don't. But the rest of the teams don't play this way necessarily. They don't. They spread their minutes out. Even when you look at tonight's game, like you look here, RJ played 39 minutes. Randall played 34 minutes. Brunson plays 36 and a half minutes. Quickly plays 36 minutes. So we had 4 guys that played over 33 minutes. 4 guys that played over 33 minutes. The Hawks had 3 guys who played over 34 minutes. That's it. DeAndre Hunter also played 30, but he played 31 minutes. The next closest guy was Bogdan. He played 24 minutes, and then Okongwu played 27 minutes. Though it matters. It matters over time. That's why I was bringing this issue up a while ago. And now, like I said last time, the minutes, the overworking of our best players has come home to roost. And it's going to be here for a while. And now we're down the anchor of our defense. Things are not looking good, my friends. Things are not looking good. But I know that we have quality players on this team. And I believe that they're going to figure it out. They're going to figure out how to get. This is a much better team than it was last season. I even think it's a better team than it was when we got the 4th seed. So we're going to figure out how to steal a game here and there. We're going to win some games that we shouldn't win, and we're going to lose some games that we shouldn't lose. It's just going to be the way it's going to happen. But I really hope that we don't face another stretch like we did last season like this because of the overworking of our best players. Let's hope that this time it doesn't go this way. But it does feel like when you look at the chart like this, like we're just looking at a weather map where you just see a storm brewing and it's just coming and you're just hoping something happens and changes it from a hurricane down to just a tropical storm, or maybe it just bounces off and just totally avoids us. That's what we're hoping right now. Fingers crossed. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching this. Again, my name is George. I am into the Knicks-Verse. Please follow me on Twitter. Follow me here on YouTube and share the video. And please hit your thumbs ups. Please, it's important. And drop your comments. Love the comments. Want to hear your feelings about all this, about what's going to happen, what your feelings are. And also, Keith and I we did a live show earlier today talking about all the trade rumors. We did a rundown for the Knicks. You should definitely check that video out. We go pretty in depth. We have some interesting ideas there for what the Knicks can do. And check it out. And I will see you around.